Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome back. It's definitely been a while since we've sat down and done one of these types of videos for you guys. And this one is without a doubt very long overdue for us to do this. We promised you guys we'd do a trip recap and review of our stay at Disney's Vero Beach back during our fall break in September. And here we are, November 5th, finally fulfilling that for y'all. It just shows you how busy of a month of October it was for us when we got back. Because we got home and Ty had soccer going on and Chad had golf, and then my coaching season started, and just one thing after another. We were very busy. Still pretty much in the middle of that. The boys' seasons are finishing up over the course of the next week, but then the holiday season, of course, is right around the corner with Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we have quite a bit of things going on over the course of the next few weeks. But we wanted to get on here and talk to y'all about our trip to Vero Beach. And thank you to everybody that tuned in and watched those videos. If you haven't watched our videos from Vero Beach, we created a playlist of them all for you. And this video will be at or within that playlist as well, so you can just go and see that. We were there, of course, for a full week with a day at Disney mixed in, and then, of course, my night at Horror Nights at Universal, and we'll talk about all of that. And, of course, Jess is getting ready some of the stuff that we got, so we'll show y'all a little bit of a merch haul, just a small bit of what we got. You can see I'm wearing the Vero Beach shirt that I bought while we were there. Let me turn around and show y'all, see if you can see the back of that. There you go, out there. Very comfy, very nice. Really love Disney's hotel specific merch. Universal has some great hotel specific merch as well. I guess while I'm showing my shirt, Jess is gonna get hers here with the turtles. Chad is really taken a love to this whole sea turtle thing since we've been to Vero Beach. He's very protective of the sea turtles. While we're on the showing of the shirts, Jess has the final product of all of our tie-dyes that we did while we were there, our Mickey tie-dyes.
This is ties.
And again, y'all watched the video. He made this himself.
He's very proud of it. Hold on, it's really hard to tell whose is whose. Hold on.
Because we also, at one point in one day, I think we told y'all in the videos, Jess and Chad went back and did some more Mickey tie-dye and made shirts for Rena and Jada, who were here house sitting and taking care of our animals for us. So thank you again, girls. You're about to get spoiled to see your shirts yet.
By elimination, this is Zach's.
There we go. There's mine. Tiny Mickey ears, but
it turned out really good.
Yeah, I really like it. I like how it turned out.
On the bottom's cool. I had to do it by process elimination, by sizes.
Yep. So mine's the biggest. That's easy to figure out.
And then I'm pretty sure mine, or I guess
Jess's and Rena's are the two that are easy to get confused. I believe.
This is Rena's.
Oh no, Jess's and Jada's then.
Yeah, this is Rena's. I really like this one.
I think Jess made this one.
Yeah, I made this one the day that Chad and I went back because he wanted to do it again. So I did this one for Rena.
And then Chad actually made Jada's, and it turned out almost just like Jess's. So it's hard to figure out which one, whose is whose.
I gotta figure it out by size.
Because I think they're both mediums. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then Ty's, we believe, we accidentally already threw it in his closet, so we don't have Ty's. Or no, you
No,
showed
I
Ty's
showed
already.
Ty's.
It's Chad's we don't have.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, Chad's
okay,
is in
that's
his
why.
closet already.
Yeah, so I don't really remember which one's which. I think this was.
I think that's Rena's.
You mean Jada?
Yes, Jada. Sorry. Yes, I think that's Jada's.
I think
this is the one that Chad made.
Yeah. He was very methodical that second day of his colors. I mean, I was too. I only used 3 colors.
This is Jess's.
Red, orange, yellow, green. No, this is.
That one's really.
This might be Chad. The one that Chad made. I don't know.
Well, we'll figure it out. So Jada, one of those 2 is yours. But had a blast doing that. The arts and crafts at Vero Beach were fantastic.
Oh, and the pillows.
That whole activities team. Yeah, y'all saw the pillows. We can't go get those right now because Ty's already asleep. And both of those pillows are in his room. But y'all saw the Black Panther pillow he made. And then there was the Lion King pillow. And then there was a Black Panther pillow.
You already said.
Did I say that? There was a third pillow though.
Yeah,
Toy Story. Toy Story. So 3 pillows. And then we also made these frames. We haven't put anything in them yet. But this one is the one that Mom and Chad, Jess and Chad made.
Yeah.
And then same exact frame, but this is the one that Chad and I made. We were very proud of those. We had a good time making those.
Oh, those are birthday presents. Don't open those.
I won't. And then here's the candle that the manager on duty at the front desk gave us because we made such a fuss over how good the hotel smelled, how much we loved that smell and hope to like.
For the record, this is a $30 candle.
And again, he just gave it to us. So that was a magical moment. We asked them if they were selling any candles that had that scent, and they didn't know, but he just went over, like while we were having this conversation, he just went to the store there in the lobby, took it off the shelf, said it was the last one, and we couldn't really tell if that was the smell or not, but I mean, he just gifted it to us. So when we got home, I went ahead and you know, we love Magic Candle Company, and we've bought tons of these before. We've done a Magic Candle Company haul, but
we haven't burned any of them.
I think at least one we have. Oh no, none of the candles we've burned. Yeah, but we have used all of the air fresheners in the car. But so they did have a specific Vero Beach smell. It's not the exact same, but it still smells very good.
I like that one better.
Yeah, I agree, but it was good. Couldn't get an air freshener scent of this one, had to get a candle. But if you haven't checked out Magic Candle Company, and I believe their website's simply just magiccandlecompany.com. They've got an Instagram and everything. They're awesome. They've got a lot of park related candles, whether it be Disney, parks and hotels, ride smells, and then they also have things for Universal. And they also do seasonal smells. So there's haunted smells, there's horror night smells. There'll be Christmas related. If you're a scent person, if you like, burning candles, or like us, we love having different smelling air fresheners in our car. We've spent quite a bit of money with Magic Candle Company over the years. Then go ahead, Jess, if you want to pull this stuff out.
We got this at the gift shop in at Vero Beach, and it's just a puzzle. They had several different ones, and this is the one and this is a Thomas Kincaid puzzle, and this is the one that we all picked out that we like the best.
Because we had fun doing the puzzles there, so it just felt very fitting to get a Disney Parks puzzle and bring it home with us. And then we also got, and I know that we showed y'all this on the video, but we did get that Yahtzee set, and this of course is a game that's fairly easy for the boys to play.
I'm excited to do this.
Yeah, this will be nice, but again, I don't know how well y'all can see it because of the glare, but each cup is themed after one of the different parks, so each park has a cup, and so we'll all be able to use the different cups for the park.
Yep, there's the Tower of Terror.
And then again, we got a couple of these, but these are the special prints that we got as we were leaving Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party that night that we were there after our trip to Epcot during the day. And I know I got a couple of Horror Night shirts. Y'all have seen them in some of the videos. I was wearing one of them, the one that Ascalon and Mrs. Ascalon got for me that I could not find the night there. That's what I was wearing it in my Halloween video when we went trick-or-treating a couple nights ago. And then I got the really nice Artist Collection Universal Monsters Collide House shirt that night as well. But they're actually both upstairs still in the dirty clothes. So I don't have them since I've worn them over the last few days. But that was pretty much our haul merchandise-wise of what we pulled in on this trip. But we wanted to talk to you guys about really just everything we went through. And I'm going to let Jess share her thoughts and opinions first here.
I loved Vero Beach as, like, on the way home, or even not even, like, didn't take that long. Like, we loved it immediately. I mean, everything about it was fantastic. And the boys are constantly asking, when can we go back? When can we go back? So they really enjoyed it too.
Yeah, Ty, more so than Chad, has been asking, you know, when we can go back down there. Chad really wants to go too because of the turtles. I think they'd really like to go and have a better opportunity of maybe seeing a turtle, especially Chad there. But Ty loved it.
Yeah, there was a hurricane sort of off the coast the whole week we were there, and we were not supposed to have good weather, but we had fantastic weather. It did not rain the whole entire time we were there. The water was just really rough. There were several days that it was red flag, so we couldn't really get in, but the first couple of days the water was really, really nice.
Yeah. And Hurricane Ian, of course, came the very next week.
Yeah.
Didn't hit that part of Florida where Vero Beach was. It hit on the other coast, and of course made its way inland.
The water was just rough.
But yeah, the water was very rough out in the ocean, so that's why most of our time was spent when we were at the hotel at the pool. But man, this was a trip that we really needed because it was our first trip that we've had in a few years where we just got to chill, where we weren't just go.
Yeah, we weren't waking up at the crack of dawn every day to try to get to a park, get rope dropped, to ride this ride, to catch it before it got really busy, or, you know, but I mean, we did have a couple of days where we really crammed some stuff in. And those days were long, but the whole trip wasn't like that. Like, it was just very nice for all of us to not be on like a really strict schedule, and we could just do whatever we wanted.
And you guys saw, I mean, we still went and had that full long Orlando Disney day where we went and did Epcot during the day and then hopped on over to Magic Kingdom for Mickey's Not So Scary that night and knocked 2 parks out. And we had to wake up early and we got back late.
Yeah, it's like a 2-hour drive from Vero Beach to
Orlando.
to Disney. So, I mean, it's not too far, but when you're driving home at night, when it's late, it seems like it's really far.
Yeah.
But it's not. Like, I wouldn't want to do that every day to go to the park. But for us to do it that one day and then you did it to go to Horror Nights, it was doable.
It was a little further of a drive than when we've been in Orlando and driven down to Busch Gardens and back, because we've made that drive several times now. And again, I think we've said it in several videos, but that's quickly becoming one of, if not our favorite Florida parks, is Busch Gardens, Tampa. It's so good.
The drive from Orlando to Vero Beach is not as bad as going from Orlando to Tampa, because I-4 is just horrible.
Yeah, you don't have to take I-4 the whole way by any means to get to Vero Beach. And once you get off I-4, the highway that you're on is pretty clear.
It's just a straight open road. That's why it seems
nothing
so
there.
long.
Yeah, you're not passing anything. But yeah, that whole hotel was fantastic. I mean, it's big, but it doesn't feel big, if that makes any sense. Like there's a lot of places to stay. It covers a lot of ground. The pool and the slide were awesome. All the activities that were free that we participated in, and y'all saw the putt-putt.
The cast members that ran the activities were awesome too.
Yeah, the trivia folks and Chad and Ty got on first name basis with some of those activities, folks, and absolutely loved it. And we had nothing but wonderful meals on property there, whether it had been at the market or at Wind and Waves. Everything we had was really good.
Well, the few times that we went off property to eat, I feel like the food was actually better on resort than it was like off resort. I felt like I liked the Disney food better.
Yeah, I mean, we went to PDQ, and PDQ was awesome. I'm not gonna. PDQ is fantastic. We need one of those up here. I'll say it again. I've said it a million times. Yeah, the place that they sent us to, that we were sitting right on the beach. We saw you guys. Was it Waldo's?
Yeah,
I feel like it was Waldo's or something like that. I didn't care for it very much. I mean, it was recommended to us as far as good seafood. That was probably my least favorite meal the whole time we were down there. But yeah, I mean, one of the best meals I had, and I know this is going to sound very just, he's got to be kidding, but the buffalo chicken fingers I had from the market.
Oh, yeah.
Just that one day, they were so good.
You wanted them again.
Yeah. And then I know my favorite breakfast was the Eggs Benedict that I had at Wind and Waves.
Yeah, the breakfast was really good.
Yeah, well, we just food, the hotel service, from the front desk people to housekeeping to just.
We had a waitress from Woodstock.
Yeah, one of our waitresses at Wind and Waves was from Woodstock, and she swam in high school when she was up there. So we got to talk about that because we were probably at several meets because my team swims up in Cherokee County quite a bit. So just very, very, very small world. So it was nice to talk to somebody that knew the area, knew where we were from, and knew all about that. And Jess, of course, works up that way, so everything just worked out really well. And that's enough about the hotel and stuff like that. We'll talk to you here a little bit about our other experiences on this trip. So first, Epcot. We both kind of made this comment after our trip to Epcot. I don't remember if it was while we were still on the trip or since we've been home. But for us, at least, Epcot's quickly becoming one of, if not our favorite Disney park.
They're doing so much to it, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now, of course, and you can see it in anybody's videos, but the construction walls are up, and so it's making Epcot, like, less accessible, and you're being directed, and you have to go certain ways, but...
I feel like, for the past 5 years that we've been going there, there's always walls up.
Everywhere.
So I don't know when they're ever going to be done, but I mean, it is like a maze trying to figure out where you're exactly trying to go. But I mean, just the progression of how it used to look to how it looks now, like they're doing a great, fantastic job of updating it.
Yeah, Creation Shop is definitely improvement. Fantastic. Club Cool and the improvements. The boys love Club Cool.
Even though the drinks are the same every time we go, they don't care.
They still want to go and get those drinks. We, of course, the rides at Epcot are fantastic.
Guardians was awesome.
Guardians, doing it twice. That second time did a little bit of a number on me. And of course, we while we were at Epcot, we ran into our friends Jason and Sarah from MP3D, and poor Jason, he did a video on done. Cosmic Rewind. Yeah, he
was done for the day.
He had to tap out real quick. So it is definitely not for those that get motion sickness really easily.
Which you do, but it didn't bother you.
And I didn't have any Dramamine or anything like that. It did get me a little more the second time than the first time, and I think maybe it's because we had doubled up and my body had already experienced it once. But I have a hard time with anything that goes backwards. That's what really gets me, like Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure at Islands of Adventure. And it's not necessarily just the going backwards, it's the going backwards and turning. So it's that additional move. Whenever that bike ride goes back and turns, that's when it starts messing with my head. And yeah, and it's kind of what happened with Guardians, and it didn't get me the first time. And wow, I mean, it is an incredibly fun ride. The music certainly adds to it, very much like Hulk in that way, because Hulk is just, it's a beast of a coaster, but when the music's not playing, it's just not as enjoyable. I could definitely see Guardians being that way, to where, you know, if they didn't have that music, or maybe if you got a song that you didn't really care for, or it didn't really fit, you may feel that way about it. But both the songs that we had, and we had 2 different songs on each ride, were great.
I do like the fact that there are like 6 different songs. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. Some people may not like that because they want, you know, their song. But
everybody wants September.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be fun if you got the same one every time. But now that they've changed it up, like, that adds a, ooh, what are we going to get?
It makes a whole new experience every time you ride it, depending on what you get. And then, of course, we were there during food and wine.
Oh, everything we ate was delicious. We ate way too much food.
We've definitely made a habit of going to Epcot when food and wine is going on, because the food booths are fantastic.
The boys really enjoyed trying the food, which was kind of funny.
Especially because, you know, Chad in particular is super picky when it comes to eating. But yeah, they really wanted to try it. We had that cake, that Lamington cake from Australia. I remember eating that, and all three of the boys, that would be me included, but we all really enjoyed it. And then they liked that apple tart.
Everything at the apple booth was good.
Yeah, the apple tart, and that was Canada, the Canada booth. I remember nobody cared for the cheese. No, it's not the cheese bread, the cheese beignet in France. I specify that because there's the Brazilian cheese bread that everybody loves, and we did not try that. Didn't. So I don't want anybody to think that we're hating on the cheese bread, but it was the cheese beignet that we had, because Ty, of course, is Mr. Beignet, and the traditional, you know, powdered sugar beignets. And so he was not a fan of the cheese beignet.
It wasn't very good.
But we had a good time traveling around Epcot, eating that stuff. Mickey's Not So Scary.
Well, we left Epcot at like 3.
Yeah, we had a full day, and then headed over for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. I'm going to go ahead and get right to the point with Mickey's Not So Scary. It's not as good as Boo Bash. At least in our opinion.
That's an unpopular opinion, I feel like.
It was not as good as Boo Bash. And now, mind you,
Boo Bash was in the middle of the pandemic, though, too.
Agreed.
And I loved it because it was less crowded.
But Disneyland also did Boo Bash this year and did not do Mickey's Not So Scary. So they got the same experience over there. Now, the trick-or-treat trails were the same. You still got the same amount of candy there. That was fun. Everybody's dressed up. You know, you're getting parades instead of just the little cavalcades at Mickey's Not So Scary. But yes, it was more crowded. Not that that mattered. Like, the lines that we waited in were not super long that night. We still got a lot done. We rode a lot. But
we were comparing it to Boo Bash.
We had to. It was the only other experience we've had. It was last year to this year. We paid more for this year's experience than Boo Bash.
And you didn't get the free popcorn, the ice cream, the Mickey Premium bars, and like the drinks.
And that was a huge perk.
Yeah, that was awesome to just be able to be like, oh, I want a little thing of water. And you go through and you just walk through and get a water. It just made it less stressful if you don't have to go stand in a line and wait for something.
Of course, I get why they didn't do that, because it means more money for them. You're spending your money on snacks and on the specialty food items. I mean, I had that, what was the Pain and Panic hot dog from Casey's Corner.
Everybody around him was like amazed at this hot dog. They were all looking at it.
So good. And no, I did not pay for it like everybody thought I would.
Yeah, everybody was like, oh, that's going to be so bad.
It did not,
later on.
It was not burping it up or did not make my stomach upset. It was just really good and right up my alley. But, you know, as good as that was, it still would have been great to be able to get like a Mickey Premium bar or some water.
Like 3 of those.
And get some popcorn. on top of all that stuff, because when we went, that's what we had at Boo Bash the year before, and then when we did the H2O Glow Party at Typhoon Lagoon back over the summer, you still had that there. And so, again, that was a perk, but did not get it this time at Mickey's Not So Scary. Another thing that probably would have added to our experience at Mickey's Not So Scary, but we just didn't experience it, was the Hocus Pocus show. We had just watched the night before, the boys watched the original Hocus Pocus movie, and then, and Jess too, because I don't know if she had ever seen it. And then when we came home from the trip, Hocus Pocus 2 came out on Disney Plus, and we watched it too. And the boys loved these movies, and they just, neither one are big on wanting to sit down and watch a show when there's rides to do. And we tried, and they just never wanted to do it. And of course, you get home, hindsight being 2020, they were upset that they didn't go watch the show. And I think,
but in the moment, they're like,
no. And same with even like the Jack Skellington fireworks show on the castle. Like, they wouldn't have wanted to do that night either. And I think we may have left before they even did the first showing of that, because they were so tired.
We were tired.
And then we were tired, and we knew we had that 2-hour drive back.
It was a long day. I mean, I'm not going to lie. And I think knowing that we had a drive back, it was like, okay, we're ready to go. I mean, we enjoyed it, and it was fun. But I do think that we liked Boo Bash better.
And then, at least we had, again, I think 3 days left at the hotel. After that, where we were able to relax. And in fact, I take that back. We had 4 days, because I think we shared that with you guys, that we enjoyed our time so much that
we didn't want to come home.
Yeah, we wanted one more day. We wanted to stretch it out as much as we could. And originally they were like, no, we don't have anything. We just have one of the cottages, which would have been ridiculous for one night. As far as us paying. And then we checked later in the day, and somebody somewhere worked some magic,
found something.
And we were able to just stay in our same room and not move around, and it worked out. So we got to have one more day in paradise there.
It was very reasonable, just for that one extra day.
Absolutely. It wasn't, especially for a Disney resort, it was not crazy by any means. It was what you would have expected to pay at, now I won't say like a cheap motel, but, a pretty decent 3-star, 4-star hotel for a night.
I mean, and granted, this is a Disney, like a DVC membership hotel, but, we're not DVC members. So we
paid regular price
points, from someone else.
Yeah, I bought points from somebody who booked this on our behalf, and that's how we got this stay originally. And I mean, again, fantastic.
It was fantastic. Like, I would definitely do it again.
And we'll go back in a heartbeat. They want to go back. We will definitely go back. Just again, a matter of when. Because there's so many other things that we want to do too. But that being said, there's one thing left to talk about that many of y'all may want to hear, and that is my one-night trip to Horror Nights this year. I got my first Horror Nights experience last year after being a Universal pass holder for several years. Finally used my free ticket last year and got to experience that with our adopted daughter on her 18th birthday trip last year. This year, I thought I was going to be having to do it alone.
You weren't sure if you were going to go.
Yes, because I did not know if I wanted to go alone and drive all that way and do it all by myself. And I really wanted to go, because in Florida and on YouTube, they hype up Horror Nights, feels like starting in March or April. So I'd been hearing about everything and what was going to be there for months on end. You had
to see it for yourself.
Yes, I did. I had the itch after last year and getting to do everything. And so I wanted to get there, and Miss Countess of Christmas here is not at all a Halloween house or scary type person. She can barely watch other folks go through haunts because
They all
of
just sort of blend together.
just secondhand fear. So I knew she wasn't going. So luckily, you know, my good friend Ascalon and Mrs. Ascalon, they're universal pass holders, and they made the trip down there for the weekend, and they went with me, so I didn't have to go by myself. Yeah, and that was a whole lot of fun, getting to collaborate with them and hang out and try all the different foods and snack around and do those houses. And so many folks have been asking me to, you know, what was my house ranking of the 10 houses? How did I feel, you know, as far as best house, worst house, things like that. Let me go ahead and preface this by saying while I'm ranking these houses, obviously I was there one night. So this is one guy's take who went one night on a Sunday night at that, and how I felt about the 10 houses in my rankings. All of them were pretty good. I will say that. So like the bottom half of my list was difficult. Like I had to get really nitpicky in deciding where certain things were. My top 2 houses, though, far and away beat everything else. There was really no comparison, and I knew, you know, pretty quickly what was 1 and what was 2. But then after that, yeah, it could have been a coin flip for a lot of them. So I'll start with 10, and I got to use Jess's phone here to have them pulled all up so I don't mispronounce anything or get the names wrong. So number 10 for me was Descendants of Destruction. And that was the house that was built like a subway, like a post-apocalyptic subway tunnel. It just didn't hit well for me. I mean, it was an okay house. It was in the same location that Puppet Theater was in the year before, and I really enjoyed Puppet Theater. It scared the bejesus out of me. And so as a house, it was okay. I think even in the video when we left it, I just said something like, well, that just happened, or that was a house. Because that's just kind of how I felt. There wasn't really anything memorable about my trip in there. Number 9 for me that night was Spirits of the Coven. I really didn't know going into it what I was going to think about this house or how I was going to feel about it. But ultimately, it was okay. Had the whole thing been in the speakeasy type way, I think I would have ranked it higher. It's just like once you left the speakeasy, it became just more confusing, hard to follow the story. So that's why it's ranked a little lower. Number 8 for me, The Horrors of Blumhouse, and this really disappointed me, which is why it's ranked this low. I loved Freaky, and I loved The Black Phone. I liked both of them. The Freaky portion of the house felt super short, and there weren't a lot of great scares in there. Black Phone felt very long, and it kind of redeemed the house because there were a lot of scares in Black Phone. But overall, after loving those movies, I kind of feel this way about, and mind you, I've been 2 years, but some of the IP houses where they do follow the movies pretty closely, they can fall a little flat depending on how they do them. Number 7 for me is Hell Block Horror. The one that it feels like you're in a jail where there's been an outbreak, and this was kind of a love letter to, you know, some figures of Horror Nights past that have been at scare zones and been in own houses and things like that. So it was neat to see some of those that I experienced the year before, and then some others that I'd seen on folks' Horror Nights videos in previous years when I hadn't gone. So overall, it was all right. It was a good house that I heard got better throughout the season. So I'd have loved to seen it at the end of October, near the end of its run. But that's why it's ranked 7th for me out of these houses. 6th for me is the Chupacabras house. It was neat. It was different. It was unlike any of the other houses that I'd ever seen. You know, being set in a Latin American town, hearing a lot of Spanish and a lot of the scares being in Spanish. Just really neat. I had heard ahead of time that there was like a stench or a smell in the house. Didn't have that effect at all when I went. So maybe that was just that one person's experience that they had. But overall, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. Next house on my list would be Universal Monsters Legends Collide. This was good. I really liked it, and after seeing some folks' videos about part 2 that was at Horror Nights out in California, this house was much better than the part 2 house videos that I saw. This was fantastic. That facade when you walked in of looking like you're in ancient Egypt and the moon is high. Oh, it was just, that was awesome. The scares in there, they were just okay. I mean, I get that you were in Egypt, but it was like you turn a corner, there's the mummy. You turn a corner, there's the mummy. You turn a corner, there's the mummy. So like, I mean, that's just, it was good scares, but it's like mummy, 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 mummy. And then just by the way of the night, you know, they change the winner every night. Well, guess what? The mummy won. So
It's kind of like
spoiler alert. Yeah, but it was neat, and I did enjoy it, and it was a lot of good scares, a lot of great facade, which is why it's ranked that high for me. Okay, y'all might be surprised by this.
Because I am.
Bug's House is next for me. And here, let me explain why. Because everybody knows, and I made comments. I was terrified to do this house. This was the one house that I was not looking forward to, and said many, many times I didn't even know if I would do it or if I could force myself to do it. And even when we were in line, I was talking to Ascalon and Mrs. Ascalon, and I was like, the only way I'm going to be able to get through this house and be all right is if it's campy. And it was campy, thank God. It was the funny house. There's usually one funny house, and sure, it's got its scares, and the scares are great, and the scare actors in there were fantastic, but it was huge, giant bugs. You know, it wasn't like little creepy crawlies everywhere. It was these big, oversized, ridiculous things. So it was great. It was straight out of like 1960s, 1970s campy horror. And so that's why it's so high, because I walked out of there and I loved it. You know, it had good scares, but it was fun. And to me, you know, that says a lot, and that's got a lot to do with things. Next, I think I'm up to number 3 on my list. I know I haven't been counting. Number 3 for me was Halloween. This was the first house that we did, and I did not expect going into it that Halloween would be this high on my list by any means. I actually thought it would be near the bottom of my list because of how many Halloween houses I've seen already, people go through in years past. And with this being the original, you know, it's all over. Everybody knows it, and you know you're going to be going through the movie. But it was so good. So many Michael Myers everywhere getting you. We got lost in the house. That probably added to it. The fact that it was the first house of the night, and we got lost, and one of the Michaels had to point us in the right direction after scaring us. So I think that added to the scare, the fact that we're in this haunted house and we're lost. But it was so good. A perfect way for us to start our night. House number 2, The Weekend. I did not expect to like that house as much as I enjoyed that house. I know The Weekend was very, very hands-on with his house out in California. I don't know how much of a say or hands-on he was with the house out here, but it was so good. So good. The music in there was great. The scares were great and unique. I'm not super familiar with The Weeknd's music. but I did recognize some of the songs, and just, the music added so much to it. It was so good. And then, of course, that leaves number one house of the night. And I know this is number one on a lot of folks' lists, but Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Wake, number one. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that it's probably my favorite house out of the last 2 years. It was that good. And it's not the scares themselves in the house were over the top or as good or better than many of the others, but it's the fact that just the beauty, the facades in that house were breathtaking. The town itself, and then of course the ship. Oh my gosh, the ship. The only downside that we had that night, and Ascalon and I talked about this, is that on the ship, on many nights, obviously not all of them, there is like a siren on the ship, and she's playing a violin, like calling folks in and calling the dead men, to come. And she just wasn't there that night. We didn't have a live siren playing. They had the music playing so you could hear the violin, but we didn't have an actual scare actor up there playing it live. And I think that would have added a lot to it. But even without that, the house was so, so, so good. I'm really enjoying, HHN after not really being a haunted house or a scary Halloween event type person prior to last year. But I'm definitely looking forward to it and hoping to make HHN a yearly tradition if I can. I'd really like to make it out to some Howl-O-Scream events at SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, and start getting into some more haunts. But again, gotta find somebody to do those with me. Because I don't really want to go by myself yet. I'm not that brave just yet to get into doing haunts alone. But I had a blast. A huge thank you again to Ascalon and Mrs. Ascalon for joining me this year.
You don't want to do the ones where they're like grabbing you and touching you by
Oh
yourself?
my gosh, guys. We watched Tampa Jay's video today where he did this haunted house in Indiana. I've never seen a haunt that intense. They were able to touch you here.
They took his shoe off?
They took his shoe off. That was funny. That was legitimately funny. But like somebody as Leatherface, they like threw him to the ground. Like they had him and tossed him against the, no. Like good for him, and I'm glad he had a great time. But oh my gosh, no, I'm not ready for that yet. No, like Jess could barely watch it. That's how rough that was. But yeah, spooky season's over now. We're in November. Yeah, the house is gonna.
When's the tree going up?
Yeah. Christmas is starting now, ladies and gentlemen. So Thanksgiving will be here. It'll be Christmas time, and Jess will be all in her glory. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our trip review of Vero Beach and everything we did while we were there. Again, phenomenal. We will definitely be back. Just absolutely awesome. If you enjoyed this and haven't seen those videos, please, I'll link them down below, or you can find them in the playlist that this video will become a part of. It'll be there with those, and you can watch them in order as we went through this trip. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit the like button, as it goes a long way to help our channel. And if you've got any questions or want to leave us some comments, just drop those below. We love interacting with you guys. And as always, if you haven't subscribed to Coker Culture yet, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss another Coker Culture video. Until next time.
What's your why?